might be wondering which way train went. Well, I'm going to tell you, it went that way of north. And it was a little bit of fight there in the second half, but not nearly enough for there to be a monstrous comeback of epic proportions. In fact, the first half was such a landslide that they definitely didn't help themselves going into the second half. And I'm going to help you by introducing the two that are going to be making the most sense of it. It's going to be Natu and Sponge. You might know them of Australian and Finnish fame.
So hindsight's 20/20, but I think, that has shown why we were suggesting earlier that North should have gone with Train over Inferno versus the likes of Vici Gaming to kick off the day. But we're in this position now, and they're able to put up a very strong showing on EnVyUs' map choice. And let's be honest, that's what we expected. Now, I want to make sense of this so everybody at home doesn't think I'm being, too harsh on Envy. We're not expecting a lot from them because of the limited amount of practice they had and the caliber of North. North should be playing up to this kind of level. They're a top 10 team, they're 11th now. Your boys took number 10. But they're within the realms of a top 10 team in the world, and they're showing more why that's the case right now. So positive signs, at least.
Yeah, I mean, in that first half, there was a couple of rounds that could have gone the way of Envy. They were really, really close. 2-on-2 is that really, really close diffuse in the later stages. So, yes, it could have been like a 10-5 half, and then you'd have a fighting chance with a pistol round win. But just looking at that second half, you could kind of tell that North were eventually going to grab those rounds. I mean, there were rounds where they were able to create openings, having good ways of getting, at least trading evenly. At Ivy, for example, where Carragher was trying to make plays there, or the North going down ladder and forcing Cutler into a play and getting that entry kill. Things like that where you just saw that they were eventually going to generate that situation where they just run away with it.
I don't know what you think about this, but when they were on the T side North, they had that CZ round where they managed to get inside and they stole that one, right? Yep. But those kind of rounds, to me, are more individual-based rounds, right? Because it's people making riskier plays they normally wouldn't. I think this is a problem with North at the moment, that they are trying to, go by that Astralis archetype, and they're trying to follow the color by numbers version of Counter-Strike that they've laid out for everybody.
Right.
When they have stars who can turn rounds on their head, you need to give them a couple of moves that they can find openings or be a little bit freer, especially when, you have such a big lead.
It's like you have a puppy and you feel like, you should probably hold him on a tight leash.
Sure.
But in this situation, let the leash go a little bit. Let them have a little bit of fun, because I feel like I said before the game, this is more a game of mental fortitude for North, because 100% every time, like 10 out of 10 times, should they be able to qualify in this situation in a best of 3 scenario. But you can kind of tell what Chad was saying there, like a little bit too rigid in certain situations for North.
Yeah, sort of just let them out, let them hang. Because honestly, if we look at these two lineups, both of them, I mean, it's hard to say that we could have forecasted North to be in this position. Obviously, EnVyUs didn't come into this entire tournament as a favorite, but I guess what can both of these teams hope to do going into the second map of Mirage?
I think that this tournament, just for EnVyUs, is to continue to build and learn and do what Jacob said during his segments about learning and using themselves as a sponge to get as much knowledge out of Carrigan as they can, right? Because this here is a way to make these players learn what is going on in that brain of that in-game leader, and then take that back to whatever team they're going to be dealing with, because we don't know where this project goes from here.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying it's done and dusted. There's always a chance. It is Counter-Strike. We are going into Mirage, a map that, if somebody steps up individually, it can be pivoted on its head. But we've seen them play it twice thus far in this tournament, and they've lost 16-9 both times, albeit to NRG and Furia, two teams who showed, NRG obviously, fantastic unit, and Furia showing a style that was very unique and disruptive to just standard mid control. So there's always a chance here, but North still are the heavy favorites.
Yeah, and I mean, as that heavy favorite continues on into the second map, I mean, it's now do or die time for these teams. There's no more, we can come back and fight another day. There's no more resting upon any sort of laurels that you might have put stock in going into today. Now it's time to shine, unfortunately.
I think the second map is going to be a wider scoreline that was in the first one. Wider. I think it's going to be like a 16-5 type of a situation here.
Okay.
Honestly, I feel like, now that North managed to close that one out and they were feeling a little rigid, I think what they're talking right now is that we just got to play Counter-Strike right now, boys. We got to stop thinking too much, because I feel like it's like what Carrigan's been saying about these Envy boys. They just don't necessarily have the kind of qualities that the top-tier Counter-Strike players of the world have, where they have to do individual decisions in default situations, in mid-rounds and that kind of situation. So you have the likes of North and the level of individual skill and prowess they can put on that server, I think it's just gonna fly away here.
And Chad, I'm gonna ask you this before we get into the game: is there a silver lining here for EnVyUs? Because this is it.
A small one. They get to start on the CT side and carry a bit of that momentum they were just building in the second half of that game over. So if people are still on point with their aim, they might be able to shut out the rigid side of North if they continue to go in that, execute, mid control, the very not predictable but the standard style, because Carrigan and his boys clearly know how to play against that. But there are players on this team who have shown to be weaknesses in the maps we've seen. Drone over towards that B bomb site. Looks like he's not getting too much done over there. Okay. So that could be a port of call for North to exploit.
And yeah, I mean, exploiting it is probably something North is going to look to do, specifically now that they know they have them against the ropes, basically. They've got them at the knockout component of the fight. Guys, I appreciate your comments. We're going to come back to the desk after this, but first I've got to take you into what could be very well the last map of this best of 3, and well, it could be EnVyUs on their way out of Katowice town. Right here, right now, Mirage, and the two to be telling the story, none other than Scrawny and Launders. Take it away, boys.
Potentially a final map here on Mirage. Envy, they've showed us some stuff, but I'm still, in my mind, thinking of the way that they were shut down versus Furia. You know, sheer aggression, kind of individual plays, and not shying away from gunfights is what they have run into before as troublesome. I do like what the analysts are talking about here with, let's see that from North.
Sure.
Let's get a little weird.
Sure. Yeah, I think they can play any style. They'll be pretty favored in this matchup. On Mirage, Envy, I think they've had mixed results. They looked not so great versus Furia on Mirage, but that was partially because Furia was really good and very different as well. So it's hard to kind of extrapolate from that. Fast B hit before we talk about anything else. AZ is going to lead the charge into the site.
Whoa, we had CTs just stuck in spawn, just standing there, not doing much at all. So they're able to run into the marketplace really quickly. We have 4 counter-terrorists in position to stop bomb. Nobody covers the plant, in fact, until Kierby starts to rack up the headshots bouncing the other way. However, Kerrigan's on a single point of health, and JDM's pinned into the corner where he's the last man up, but he's got it to the clutch. It's just Folda on the other side, successful. Glock over USP, North over Envy. This T-side starts with the pistol.
I think it is a really important conversation that Sponge sparked about Envy, because going into the minor, it felt like no way Envy would qualify to the major before they played any games.
Right.
They might play well, but they're such a weird team. They're kind of like this Frankenstein team in terms of the players and like how they've all come from different rosters, and Envy's never played anything like this. That all made it seem like, all right, no way that they, exceed expectations, beat all these different types of teams from different regions and end up actually qualifying. But they played some games. They had some maps where every single one of these players looked fantastic and looked fantastic together.
Yep.
And then that rose everybody's expectations. And so when they start to play badly, even versus teams they aren't favored against, it feels like they're almost kind of a letdown when they should have never had those expectations in the beginning to begin with. It's a lineup that so far has punched above its weight at times and has had mixed results, but has had so little practice. It's like ridiculous to expect consistency out of them. But you have to say, some of the maps that they played, I mean, it's like you just wish that they could carry it over into every single match.
It was about a matter of, I think not only each individual stepping up, but you just said it best, everybody stepping up together. The team play that looked phenomenal. The nifty JDM 2v4, the nifty Cutler 2 versus 4. It's there, so it would seem. But North are here. They're racking up some frags. Everybody's lounging on the couches.
I wonder what happens to Envy after this. I really do. It's not something that it's not a project that seemed to make any sense, but at this point it's making a whole lot more sense. I also feel like, and I don't want to will this into existence or whatever, but if Kerrigan does leave the team, I feel like he has left a lot for Envy to pick up with and move into a new, I guess, calling style, or bring somebody in that could pick up where Kerrigan left off, and they'd actually be able to do that quite easily. I feel like they seem comfortable, and again, in spots, look very, very prepared and well-versed, and I think as Kerrigan said, they played about 30 maps, more than any other team at the minor, grinded hard, did a boot camp and everything, and so it feels like no matter what happens after, there's still kind of hope for the roster to stay somewhat together, or just maybe change one piece and attempt to play again. Now, that being said, this is the minor play-in. This is for the third place teams to all go up against each other. North are up a map, and they're 2 rounds up in this map. But Envy are not out yet, and so it's going to be important to obviously remember that. But I wanted to say that just because it feels like everyone had harsh expectations after seeing mixed results.
Yeah.
The team doing well, and the team doing bad, the team doing well.
It's almost more of a disappointment with that in and of itself. You have high hopes, and Cutler with Nifty have high regards for Ramp. Good control between the two of them. Locking off the bomb, that was a sectioned piece of the execution. Valdo was never able to activate through Palace because he lost all his teammates, and now he's all alone. So damn, Envy, hell of a round.
Not bad at all. 5 up, Valda. Can he surmise a kill? 4 kills plus a clutch in the pistol. 200 ADR. A chance that he keeps that up by getting 2 kills.
1 tap.
For who?
Ooh, I was going to say Cutler, but he's dead. Nifty trades, numbers game, at the end of the day is strong for Envy. JDM can buy armor for that initial glass cannon, and Cutler's the only rebuy here, so good job, Envy.
The number one thing that Furia did that made both Envy and E United look ridiculous was when they were able to take CT side mid control.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to be so much of a problem right now. I also feel like I'm sure there's a part of Kerrigan that's relieved to play a team that he at least knows. You know,
That's a good point.
It's tier 1 competition that he knows. But tier 2-1, 2-2, like they're, you know, on the cusp. This result might affect that standing, but a team that he understands, with players that he understands, on a map that he understands. Drone jump spots with the incendiary, releases that on his way down. Almost gets a clean haircut. We've seen Cadian hit that pick many, many times. Smoke out on the site. Still decent utility here for the CT side. Oh, what a just as drone comes out. I mean,
here's the thing. Valda goes for the off spray.
Absolutely lit up.
Pulls drone into the open. And it's read like a book. Predicted. All too easy.
Feels like not even a single bullet was missed just as soon as he lined it up. Drone offers himself up.
That draws the rotate for NV2.
Interesting position. 2 at B is not so bad. 1 in CT spawn is okay. They have to worry about window, and that's what Cutler is going to pick up. He can also come back to CT spawn. He's not really losing anything by drifting this far over. Even if North go A, he's still in a pretty decent spot. They're actually squeezing for information, so Kerrigan's pushing up, catches the bomb mid connector, knows that there's probably going to be another person with it, and drops a Molotov in that same position. Cutler, is he going to be aware of this, though? Oh, gets melted by the CZ.
Long range. Kirby's still confident to take that fight.
Does JDM know exactly how close he is?
He may or may not. Flashbang, frag, it's all meant to keep Kirby alive, buying time, and then he goes one better. Bests the Opper with the sidearm, and North have just stolen away around.
That looked good for a second. I was going to say Cutler picking up the window was great because he was, you know, covering his teammates there, and then Kerrigan squeezed on the cat and made a kill of it. They had so much information, but I guess as soon as Kerrigan realized it was going to be an A play, Cutler went back to his post, and that's when Kirby lurks out and also gets JDM the Opper. After having 5 alive, Envy still have no money remaining in the bank. Or I guess they lost 1 at the end. Valda got him.
Yeah.
But are on a full pistol eco.
And already down by numbers. Nifty will answer with something. JDM, patient for Gade to come out from Palace, and he does have only half health. Ooh, chance to strike, but JDM struck down. So, Drone, hate to break it to you, buddy, you're dead. Kirby, just gonna give cover. 125 ADR at the moment. Goes up to 145.
Envy have to recollect themselves, but they have an expensive Abbott in the ops. I'm surprised they aren't even saving for them. Mirage is the map that welcomes it. Instead, they're just going to grab Falmuses. JDM has enough money for his 1, but I'm honestly surprised they don't even save for 2. All things considered, they like having a lot of nades on CT sides, and they've had very good CT sides, so it's hard to doubt them in waiting that 1 extra round. JDM wants to rush connector, that's why he jumped that window like that. Valda goes ahead and gets a kill at A ramp, and T-side's already off to a swimming start. Cadian goes off for an op pick and gets cat control. Valda, oh my goodness, is also going to get another. And there's no CTs left to be found, man.
No, they're just running through them one after another, over and over. We got the ramp hit, the cat push, the outer A extension, and Drone fired up into the open. Kirby then already inside of window with a teammate who jumps forward to grab op. Can't quite get it.
Absolutely overwhelmed.
Just not slowing down. I mean, we talked about Furia's CT side mid aggression and how that's, you know, was an issue for Envy to hang on to, but North smelling blood in the water.
Dude, just every single duel. I mean, keeping the momentum up. When a team starts to run over you like this, it feels like they're moving at like 260, 270 movement speed. You know, they're in places you don't expect them. They're taking aggressive liberties all across the map. North moving right into a B exec on an anti-eco, and I love keeping the tempo high, not giving EnVy any time to talk about things, forcing them to be very concise about their comms. Drone goes ahead and gets a P252K. Kerrigan tries to help him out with that, but lurking through the smokes is exactly what North will be looking for. Just Nifty alone now on a big flank. A big flank just becomes a regular push after all of your teammates are dead. They'll have eyes on it.
Yeah, AZ's gonna put it between the eyes.
Surprised they don't go for the plant before they kill him.
Yeah, I guess at this point, you know, you start hitting that groove whereby you're just winning rounds. Put it all behind you.
That's something.
It looks a bit ridiculous, but yeah, Drone firing off the $300 pistol. Couple of kills, why not? But obviously so much grandfathered forward. 6-1, and we do have EnVy back in with a bye. Op included. Want to see JDM start to hit some shots.
Slightly better than the 3 Falmuses that they had. Initial pressure at A ramp, and because of the speed that they moved at, you can throw just a couple of nades over a choke point, and you'll get so many in response because EnVy are going to panic, knowing that there have been rushes in the past that have worked so well. That was such a good way to continue on from that. Trade comes out from Nifty. Unfortunately, that Cutler goes down, but it's still 4-4. Not a bad spot to be in, and JDM couples that with a frag from Triple. Connector is no longer safe to creep up from.
Gets another Cadian down. So we saw just 2 rounds ago North going on all these individual offenses, pushing up ramp, throwing up catwalk, hitting Connector, and it all seemed to work out for them. This time,
this is big. Valda saw that JDM fell off the angle, so he knows that he's playing from CT. He can't find that other duel, and because the grate isn't open, he doesn't have an easy option here. He can try to bait, like, you need to make noise, and
they're gonna shoot it.
Yeah, there we go. He tries it at the same time.
Yeah, smooth. Valda does still actually get to jump out and catch that opper. JDM was the difference.
They know that he was, I think they know that Nifty was close A ramp or around that area.
Well, he's now tucked away inside of Palace. Kerrigan's running over towards CT spawn. Valda could very well just take this duel.
Yeah, they're going to delay the plan, I think. Oh, no, they're not.
Ooh, Nifty hits it.
And a big risk.
Valda just going to have to go for the frags at this point. Took a lot of damage as well. Swift headshots could be the solution. Bomb plant could also work, but he's going to get pinched. Drone's waiting on the angle, and the AUG is good for it. That's a second round for EnVy. North going to have to give one up.
And it was a labored one, but they do pull it together. JDM, the hero of the round, with those 2 op duels to shut down the default. That has been very aggressive, very versatile. So initial trade from Nifty from Sandwich was big too. And that's where the info was. That was kind of cool. Both grates weren't popped, but to pop them at the same time, something interesting. Tac pause called by EnVy. Should be one of those pauses. It's like, okay, we won a round. Or listen, guys, we're here. You know,
yeah.
Even if we don't feel good, even if we're down a map, even though we're in the 3rd place decider when we could have ended this earlier, we're here. You know, we got to get it together. We got to play.
Speaking of that sort of mentality, I think you could apply this sort of logic to North, whereby the coach of Optic, Casper, tweeted, "Don't believe North can lose to any of these teams in a best of 3 as long as they haven't lost faith in their own skill."
Sure.
I think that's a very true statement, and I think that with the way we were starting to watch North play here at the beginning of Mirage, running out onto that A site all over the place, like it was innately confident in their own gun duels.
Definitely.
So I'd say that's a key piece to what has been success so far. We are only 9 rounds deep on this T side.
You know, not doing well when you're expected to do well is like a novelty feeling that wears off when you start to realize that it doesn't help you to have that negative feeling to the fear of losing. When you realize and you have an honest conversation with yourself and say this doesn't help, that just doesn't help.
Absolutely. North with a map in their back pocket and a 6-2 lead like this. The idea of losing is not even on their mind.
This is weird. Cadian, did he not even respect the smoke that was thrown behind him? Kerrigan threw this and then pushed underpass. And did Kerrigan throw that, or did they throw that from B-apps, or did he not see the trajectory? That was so strange.
I'd like to figure out where that did come from. And I'd like to know where Nifty goes because, wow, he actually manages a headshot there. Gets a kill, and the rest of his team just doubles back a bit.
Oh, this is big. The Molotov and Palace allowed JDM to clear out the ramp, so they fell back for a second. But it looks like it's going to be a regression. 4 CTs here, and they'll start to get thinned out. 40 seconds, and they can delay. Drone's going underpass to cut him off in the halls, and they're making quite a hasty rotation over. Man, this.
How many players would you have liked to seen move B?
You know, one underpass is a lot of information, and Drone's going to hear this, but he doesn't have visual confirmation. And so look at this. They're even pulling Cutler, just slightly. But it was such a cheap fake. Oh, man, you wouldn't want to see them lose because of this.
JDM's up, hits the mark, and second shot is a little wide. KRB, however, still cut down. So EnVy, they were starting to fall for that B hit. And you saw Cutler's even hesitation to leave ticket, but good thing they kept 1 foot in the door at A, cutting off north before they could even plant.
See how valuable it is to be able to know that you can walk out mid, for example. To go underpass to B and cut off a B hit is huge, especially on late rotates back. So many times CTs can sneak up there and flank. And even if the site is taken over, if you have B apps control, you can actually win the retake. So they had pretty smart spots. They might have rotated a little bit too easily. Nifty tries to off-put the smoke that might land in window, but there's not going to be one today. And he has traversed his way to top mid boxes. They now can watch underpass, top mid. Nifty's got to project JDM in this situation, but the other rotates are just good.
Cadian won't fall prey to the potential flank as he did last round. Actually had Valda watching underpass and CT as well. Because they've thrown a man to the top of mid, why bother with underpass 2? You just hope that north walk in.
Quite curious if they saw on Kirby spotting through the door crack, if they know Nifty got to top mid. He'll obviously be used to flank here. Most of the holds will rely on Cutler and JDM to try to get free damage in. They have some nades. Smokes will be good for the retakes. A couple of HEs for Firebox potentially. Let's see how they react to this full exec. It's middle of the site smokes. This bomb comes out A ramp.
Oh, nice grenade by Cutler. That softens him up. They're just going to completely focus this fight on Connector itself. They have caught Cadian over towards T-spawn, so EnVy will get a man advantage as bombs planted. But now what? We've got smokes fading. JDM still sitting to the top of middle, and Nifty opts not to go for that full T-spawn flank wraparound. No, they're going to fight for Connector. They have an inkling as to where those walls of smokes enabled the Ts to get off to, and they would be right in assuming this is not clear. 2 kills for them. Valda underneath the Palace. His position unbeknownst to the CTs, and, well, they are running out of time, but he dies, leaves it on AZ. First player's going to jump on that defuse, and AZ's going to have to peek from mid. Will blindside JDM. Tries to prioritize defuse, and it's still going to be cut so close.
Wow.
Damn.
In the nick of time.
The only player
JDM and
without
Cutler
a
and
kid.
Kerrigan all had kids.
Drone, don't do me like that.
Let's make it crazy. Let's make it crazy. EnVy pull out a 4th round. Attack called here for North. It was a decent setup. It was just that when they got connector control, they weren't exactly safe, as we saw. It wasn't a secret either that they were in connector because of the smokes that went down. I'm sure that EnVy knew what kind of strat was coming their way.
Right.
So they took their time. They had mid control. They cleared it out. They had 2 players there to work on it. But I'm thinking even if EnVy don't have mid control, they'll be able to clear out connector. So I wonder what's North's ideal situation. Where do they find a kill to make that kind of a 4v3 retake as opposed to a 4v4 or 5v5?
I was surprised that there wasn't more attention given to Cutler once that wall of smokes was up. You know, I think that would have been a real good opportunity to just get underneath your Palace. When the Molotov clears, you focus on that one gunfight, and you're completely smoked off from mid. I mean, clear intention to go connector and lock down middle too, but...
Maybe if they delayed long enough, the idea is they could have AZ could come in as the insurance policy, flank the people who are actually coming to deal with connector, and then win from there. But they couldn't get far enough. They couldn't buy enough time. Half buy out. Cadian's going to throw smoke in the connector and flash through it.
He's going to try just running right on up. Gate cut back by JDM. Doesn't necessarily have to worry about Palace because he does have Cutler push forward. Kirby's going to start creeping out, trying to catch kills. Will take it with the pistol. JDM in the back corner, fully flashed. That's easy pickings for Valda, but Nifty's here with the AK, trying to get himself some kills, but oh my god. These CZs have just ripped through the A site. Finally, EnVy seem to have some footing. They're making something of a CT side 3 rounds in a row, but this is how the streak has been broken.
Wow. No, Not even a chance here for Drone. Gonna get peeked by the op. Valda takes him out with their own gun. 16-7. This was the map where he went 40-13.
Yeah.
So
he's an incredible AUG player here too, so it's not going to get any easier once they swap sides.
man, just a simple connector split. They skip having to get control of mid by going underpass. That's the idea on the eco. And then when they get in connector, the op shot goes off. They lose one player, but the split is still on, and everything just falls apart. I mean, what can you say? Nobody could pick up their individual duels. JDM got full flash in the back of the site. They had that one ironed out, and EnVy have no money to buy. They had to work so hard for those last few rounds. They have nothing in the reserves. Bomb left back in spawn, but they don't care. They're taking their time. They've got control of literally everything. 2 CTs on Cat. One jump into CPL, and he'll get flamed out of position.
They'll try to come fight middle, just looking for a casualty to their name, but Kierby, well, he pops both their noggins and will move north on to 8. Double the score of EnVy. Still not in a great economic state, but it seems as though they're going to have to buy.
2 ops, potentially the setup they're looking for. JDM and Nifty are going to both pick them up. I don't know what the initial CT setup will be. They can do anything though. They can have JDM roam the A side. He's able to find kills from the A side, whether he pushes A ramp or connector, anything like that. He doesn't really need to play window in the situation. An op at B could be huge though. They can manage to play one person there. And yeah, Nifty's going to be up there alone, but it is a split.
Yeah, it's going to be starting to work its way forward. Kerrigan spraying down Kierby, almost having Gade's name as well. Opper in position. Nifty, good first shot, but Cadian predicts the second peak. Smoke down into the marketplace would cut off any rotation. EnVy throws that way, so instead they'll go underpass with 2.
Yeah, bomb gets planted late enough that this flank could be walked the entire way, but they've got no one coming in from a standard retake spot, which is so important. You know, you've got to have that guy as just a mercenary to try to draw attention back to the usual places. AZ's got his full attention on this flank, but Drone gets the better of him.
Now that should pull some attention away from Catwalk, where JDM's trying to get his op in from. There's one kit, but it is on JDM all the way back down on Cat. There's an execution to the back of the head. They've got it, 2 kills, but can the kit get over fast enough? It's going to be down to the wire yet again.
Oh my god, that was almost not even worth it to go for the...
He's got it.
5 seconds. But, yeah, he counts for something. EnVy get that, and again, because the bomb went down so late, they were able to walk the entire way through underpass and pull it off. Well played for sure. Kerrigan's rotate was super important. It felt like Nifty was alone there for a second, but he had assistance. Going 1-for-1 was almost not enough.
Good on JDM to be a little hesitant there, because I'm sure like his teammates are wanting his help with that op to just clear out bench. And if he dies at any point, there's no opportunity for the apartment players to go pick up his kit and come back in time to defuse. That would have been a 9th round from North.
I think a good idea from North, maybe anticipating a double op setup to go for the B hit. That's, you know, super hard right side to retake. They take the op down and then the rifle, then they get in.
Oh, wow, Cutler. They thought they caught him off guard, but Cutler's going to hold it down for at least a moment longer. Will die, of course, to Valde pushing out, but by that time, JDM's ready. Traded and successful.
And that's it, just 2 up. Second last round of the half. But EnVy are still showing signs of life. Nice round from Cutler's. The hard second shot, I think only ate a flash that denied him from getting that 3rd kill. Could have been a freebie. Cadian and AZ just sitting in their positions. Don't know if they're going to try to go for this. I think they should, just because they have money to buy next round. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not the op, at least.
It's a long time to save, though.
It definitely is. And they're in pretty good spots. Okay, he
didn't see that?
No idea. Yeah, Drone just goes ahead.
Just see Drone's little goggles pop up. Hey there. Gets his kill. And leaves Cadian all alone. There is no flank, despite him being worried. But all right, this is starting to piece itself together for EnVy. I mean, sure, you take around that anomaly that was the 11th round where the CZ ramp push got the eco win when they charged forward, gave Valda the op, retrieved off JDM. You know, outside of that, Envy have been in control for the last 7 rounds or so.
Yeah, not bad. Definitely
That
coming
happened in
out
the
ahead.
11th, anti-eco 12th. You remove that anomaly. CT side was looking strong in the second half of it.
Yeah, they're putting up a good fight. It just feels like I guess the fear for me is that they're going to constantly be slightly behind. You know,
Right, of
things
course.
will work out slightly worse, and North will just be slightly better. And they have been somewhat in control. And you know, there's only so much backwards rationalizing you can do once the half is said and done. It is good after the game to be able to go back and say, all right, well, this is what we did well, and they do have some stuff there. But tournament life on the line. And North are looking for a 9th. Could be a well-placed nade from Drone. Oh, not as much damage as he would have liked to get. Oh, I think was waiting for a flash to come over mid so he could peek, but instead gets bullied on the left side of the window.
Yeah, they don't even wait for him to come outside.
Gate's low. They've got a split going on. They just want to wait for somebody to trail back to potentially A ramp or Palace.
Oh, watching the smoke though. Op hasn't shot yet. Cutler looked like he was going to play ramp, but
That's, yeah, I mean, that's a really scary spot to be in if you're expecting connector pressure. I guess he's really relying heavily on Nifty here.
and if they don't walk into jungle, the Nifty won't see them. But does catch Gate first. Now the pinch is really on. I feel for Cutler. He is going to be up and above. Odd kill does nail it, but however, they've lost the bomb site now. 3 versus 2 to the advantage of North in the final round of the first 15.
Cutler gambling maybe that they were coming through Palace so that he could get a kill and push. That's the only thing I could think, because other than that, maybe just hoping it was some kind of fake. But North stay patient, wait for that kill from Kerrigan to come into them, leaving JDM in the 1v3.
And down he's dropped just through the fading smoke. Cadian will end the half, folks. That is North with 9, swapping to the CT side of a map they haven't lost yet here at the Miners. We'll see you guys after a break. Envy have jealousy coursing through their veins because now they look with disdain to North's T side here on Mirage. 9 rounds for them, and Envy will have to begin their job on the offense if they want to win their opponent's map choice to keep this series going. If not, 1 spot short of an actual chance at playing at IEM Katowice.
2 smokes in hand, 1 goes out. Top connector as 3 Ts run towards it. Will they come through it or will they wait? Flash goes over and they do barrel through. Gade misses them, but Cadian, can he pick up the pieces?
Only one. Then he is left in pieces. Nifty and JDM doing the work for the terrorists so far, but there's a player here behind the box. It's Valda, only with one headshot of his own. But AZ, still unbeknownst to the T's, has jumped through window for a duel, swapping to his knife, getting back onto the gun. Kerrigan spotted up close. He knows.
He's gonna walk up to it. Yeah,
He
Kerrigan,
knows.
Yeah, Kerrigan doesn't know that he knows. Oh. That's an easy kill. Oh my goodness, the 1v2 from AZ. Easy for AZ.
Just flies in off of the catwalk like it's absolutely nothing. Swoops through the windowsill.
I thought that connector smoke would go up and he would also have another fight from connector, but the bomb would go down safely in the afterplant, make it a really hard round to win. But he was 2 levels deep on that one. Heartbreaking pistol loss for EnVy, and that has been the course of almost every map they've played so far. Tough spot to be in. They don't invest anything because they didn't get a bomb plant. It's a 4-walk palace. Kerrigan here at the A ramp. He's not even got a flash, so I'm not sure what his job is going to be. The double smoke in the palace, and they've got to be wondering what information do North have.
MP9 mow down. That's the garden hose of the SMGs. Good for 5 frags this time.
Lots of money made. Lots of money made as North moved up to 11 rounds. Oh, that's tough. A buy in the works for EnVy. Not enough money for an op, at least not responsibly. JDM will go ahead and get one glass cannon with a smoke, and Drone's going to have his nade kit. What is their strat of choice? You can expect this is the round where they're going to kind of let it all hang out. I don't think there will be anything that they're going to try to counter strat North with, and instead just try to figure out what's our best chance to just get us off to the right start. Kind of a standard default here as they work on mid control, and North are going to be quite passive about it, potentially anticipating multiple SMGs to still be in the round, so mid could be a good idea. Bomb trickles his way back to the A site. Drone is left here with JDM, who's hoping a kill can come to him. It's quite squishy because he doesn't have armor, but it's also late in the round. Unlikely he'll be naded. Congregation of the CTs and jungle. Interesting spots to hold from. Smokes come out. And does this lock anyone in connector? No, they're on the outside. This might look like a cat to B exec.
All this actually here on the...
Oh, look at his little antenna.
Deeble. Cadian gets caught like a bug against the wall, smushed into the side of connector. Gade then sprays 4-2. Controlled bursts off the AUG. Good enough to keep a man advantage, even with Nifty humming in from Palace. Kerrigan caught just on the edge of that smoke Valdi was playing.
Oh.
Buying his time and cutting off bomb. Molotov soar forward. Nifty committed to the corner. Kerrigan still here trying to help from Sandwich. Lines up a couple bodies, but now that device is thrown to the favor of the CTs, and Nifty traded immediately. That is North with doubled the rounds of EnVy.
I quite like the strat. It's a strat that looks like a fake towards B by throwing the top connector smoke with connector control. So they threw the Molotov into it and just assumed the CTs would play outside of it. And then they turned that into just an A hit. And you saw how the smoke came down in jungle just after, but Gade doesn't respect the initial smoke, stands right in front of it and kills both players who are meant to split. That's where the strat breaks down. And although it was cool, well thought out, and interesting, and looked like it could potentially be a curveball, EnVy can't follow through on the execution. It's going to be a half buy here. As EnVy look for a 7th round, they've got 4 smokes. We're going to at least get the Kevlar. But what more do North need to do? They can just kind of hang out, see what pace EnVy want to take it at. They're probably brimming with confidence at the moment.
Especially a guy like Valde. He's up onto 23 frags at the current moment.
Just his map.
Yep, exactly. You know, some people shine individually, depending on where they are, and well, this is his. Kerrigan's gonna jump through smoke on mid. May find footing up connector to the A site. Cadian's actually gonna get damaged down by the Deagle. Cutler finds a fantastic opening.
That's a big kill. Cadian's also gonna lose the op, and they're gonna peek right into him. Call Valda. Don't know if he saw that.
Now he has.
All falls back. This CT control could fall apart with a good flash.
Just like that. Just like that. 2 frags for the CTs already. Cutler's still inside of the smoke, but they see his knees. Nifty is the one with the op, and not for any longer. We've got Drone CZ B3, cuts off the M4, does still play around the bomb site, and an excellent dink comes one better, but it's still too short. That's North 13.
Yeah, they get the defuse just in the nick of time. Nice attempt from EnVy. Cutler, you know, triple degging Cadian and CT spawn punishing for missing is huge. They go ahead and try to capitalize on it right away, but the counter flashes as they realize what could happen were solid, and EnVy were one deeper as well. They tried to re-smoke deep CT to make sure they could protect their players there because they didn't have the best guns to work with, but it all came a bit too late. North were on top of the situation, put out all the fires at their feet, and now, again, have to go into another rebuy situation. Quite a few tragic rounds that EnVy have lost. That one was definitely well earned by North. Close positions here as there's a full A execute coming the way of North.
Rang is good enough for the man on site, but he is still unknown to the T's all around him, enveloping the bomb site. This is EnVy with some crucial kills. 4v2, in fact, for bomb plant.
Yeah, they caused a hell of a lot of confusion with that one.
Yeah.
Instant save here for North.
Feel as though there was confusion amidst the CTs as well, with kind of Gade holding off his spot, being flashed. The man under balcony has vision, but then doesn't get kills.
Yeah, Molotov didn't actually land properly either, but they hard cleared it, took him out. Baldy up to 23 frags on the round.
I feel like if Gade in that situation is playing behind triple or over on ticket booth, then he wouldn't have either A, been flashbanged, or at least B, kind of keeps the T's off the player who's not been Molotoved. But with him just hiding here on standard plant, there was no help for the man under Palace. But it's just one round, so it's not the end of the world for North, especially considering the 2 AUGs saved. They will move forward into this round, calculate their funds, and see where they stand at the end of it.
Did a pretty good job on the anti-ecos, but I guess that last round was so expensive, it's not going to be a freebie. And they're at risk of saving once again if they lose. EnVy, can they make it 2 in a row and put up a fight? And what does Cadian buy? He's got at least enough for a FAMAS. So they've got 4 rifles at the very least. No one goes right out to A. Instead, there's presence at window and jungle. 3 players in the site at B. Somewhat of a gamble stack here from North. So they're anticipating Kerrigan to maybe change it up. Valda is known to hang out right side window. I wonder if they're going to try to call this out. A Molotov could be huge, but he has a full set of utility, and it's actually a smoke to land in front of him. Won't actually do much either way. And Gade was man of the hour when it came to connector control. Also has this late smoke to slow things down from EnVy. Not any more assistance on the A site, however. North are seriously gambling on this stack and holding it, even though it's kind of blind. They don't have a lot of info to support the amount of CTs that they're holding on the other side of the map, but now they're starting to make their way over.
Oh, I can't help but favor Balda here, yeah. Maybe not. He goes for the spray down, and then Drone does one better. Nails Katie into the wall. Kierby's the next victim to Drone, and he only had a couple bullets left to make that happen. Excellent play there from Drone. I think he could have easily been caught by Valde had he not fired too soon on that ump. You know, Drone wins a very hectic spam fight that ends up netting him 3 frags. Could get the fadeaway. Almost. He'll fall at the end, but his job's done. He can take a sigh of relief. EnVy have 8.
Yeah, he goes absolutely above and beyond in that round, and taking Valde out was the most important one because he was controlling all the rotators, had middle of the map control. 3 players who are in B rotating through CT. Whoever wins window stops everybody from B. You cannot cross the murder hole safely knowing in good conscience that there is a T that should be watching it. So, important spot. Valde 100% spams because he's staring at radar. Sitting inside of the smoke, waiting for a blip on the radar to come up. And that was Drone, but he's just off the mark. And Drone's fully ready. So, EnVy do it. They pulled off the 2 in a row, and North are back to saving. AZ's got the AUG at the very least. It's going to be kind of an eco. Wouldn't say I would write North out on this, or count North out on this eco.
They've done it already. Although this time, very limited. Where's AZ going off to?
Once again, North fishing for this B stack.
Hoping Envy throw it out. I'm trying to think myself. We haven't just seen a straight up commitment to B yet from Envy.
Yeah, it could be just something like surface level psychological read of like, all right, well, it's gonna happen. They'll probably throw in a B rush at one point to make it seem as though there's variation, and on that round we catch them.
And it would make sense to do so after, you know, beating a North on a force.
They're also really good at retaking. I mean, North, a lot of people feel like, hey, they've been kind of playing below par, but they have super good retakes.
Well, they'll have to retake. They want to make this one happen. Just keeping an eye on AZ. Remember, that's that only gun, so he's going to chill outside the murder hole. North are going to set a trap here. They've got 3 players tucked away in the depths of CT spawn, and just because Valda, you know, he's too cool to hang out with the rest of them, he's in the other cubby. They would welcome Envy to push down CT spawn, but that's just not going to happen. So they sit here and they'll finish this round where they start the next.
It's a stalemate.
Yeah.
They're playing pacifist. And we get the plant. Are they going to go try to tap this?
Could draw a couple players in. You know, you're only sacrificing your USPs.
This might just be a bunch of free kills. And they're, yeah, attempting to just keep them close to the site if possible, but that's not going to work out. Instead, just the CTs end up dying. But why not try something like that? Give it a shot. Envy are 4 rounds away from tying this up, and you know, we'll go one round at a time.
I'm here with you longer. Let's take it one by one.
Attack timeout called for North. They've got 2 left in this map. Cadian's going to be opping one more time. And what CT option can they implore? I mean, they could go for a B apps push. We've not seen this once in this game from either team. In general, they aren't working for control at all. They give up connector, and then they kind of sit there. It's actually been Gade who will normally take the fights in front of connector. Almost never has support. I think if Valda does kill drone and window that one round, then it's a whole different round.
Yeah, so could already have been a whole different result.
It's a lot to rest on, it's a lot to rest around on, though. So, potentially being able to subvert that problem if they go for a close A ramp play to shut down half the split, or they take palace control so that if a split comes out, no one can plant safely, or they double push B apps. And here, I think they've been fishing for this B apps control, but it hasn't come out, and now AZ's going to spot something, an initial threat. But because JDM doesn't get that kill, it doesn't seem like they're ready to follow up on it. I think they wanted to have the bomb trail behind just in case he did luckily find it, but maybe move into some kind of default if not. Look how close they are on Cat, however.
Yeah, the thing is when Kierby gets contact and finds his fight, there's that man inside window who could have helped, but they used a good bit of utility to section Valda off. Now AZ, too many targets to handle as they come filtering out from apartments, taking damage all the while. Cutler lucky to be alive.
So good call from Envy. It's a save.
Done.
Yeah, they don't know that they avoided North stacking the B site the last 2 rounds in a row. But here's where North will be like, damn, I knew it was coming. I knew it. I told you guys.
Well, the question is then, you know, does Envy throw it again, and whether or not North continues to keep it over here? Because
that would be the ultimate mix-up.
Right. You know, Team Envy say, nice, we got this in the one time.
But
Go back to the A side.
Can North in good conscience stack it again? It looked like fools.
Right.
If Envy went A.
And this is when Counter-Strike is a beautiful dance of death, Launders.
Absolutely. And you can never play to not look like a fool, right?
That's a good point. You don't want to be
you look
punk.
like a big fool when you lose.
Well, they have the spawns for the B side. I wouldn't be surprised to at least see them throw some bodies there early. Maybe get some cat control, because I feel like Valda and Kierby were meant to contain Catwalk that round, but there's been some pretty good smoke grenades countering Valda's positioning when Drone gets boosted inwards, for example, and then this previous round where there's no trade potential at all.
It's true that CPL has not come into the mix with North. They haven't bothered with it. Oh, instead, they'll just take the fight right up mid. Cadian and his Dragon Lore.
Let's go. I mean, we've got JDM and his Asimov on the other side.
Oh, that was kind of a unimpressive throw of the smoke. I think it looked like it was going to go farther. So fair play. Yeah, kind of a limp-handed throw of the smoke to top mid. They've still got full vision, basically.
That's how Hugo throws.
The Canadians left. Noodle arms.
CT's still patient at the B site, but floating around, hopping up. You know, you've got to be careful when there is that threat of an AWP looking for your head. But it's actually not JDM on the forefront of the apartments. He's sitting back with the flashes, the smokes to go over. Kerrigan's going to be trying to sell that fake at B, or initially was, until they've lost a member at the A site. EnVy may need that fourth player, so Kerrigan's going to get called into action. 45 seconds remain. Nifty just looking to slip out onto the bomb site.
Yeah, very tense moment as he shoulder peeks, as it always is. But they've got a lot of control for the split. 4 CTs have attracted to the A site, however, this could be difficult.
Gade's ready for the connector walkout. Kerrigan and Cutler cut down. Now Cadian's got the cover of the blocks. Does still fall to the op of JDM, but that's the only piece standing here for EnVy, and he wants out. He is gone. 4 members of North going to survive this unless they continue trucking towards him. And let that be a red flag, JDM. Walk away.
Yeah, they would love to take this op off his hands, but EnVy have lots of money to work with, so, I mean, it wouldn't even be that big. Instead, North want to be able to buy
Unless he does.
2 rounds in a row. Oh, and they can just catch him.
So that's that.
14 rounds.
Will happily grab a second op. 2 snipers on the setup here for North.
You've got to appreciate how effortless Gade makes it look.
Right.
They just look like they had no chance at all.
I mean, the first real impressive thing we saw from North, I think, even back in the EU minor, was Valda and Gade with Augs on Mirage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there's anything that they've figured out already, it's that. So 4 rounds down. Team EnVy calling a timeout, leaving 1 in their back pocket.
They're close. They're putting up a respectable performance. It was a struggle in the first half, but they're showing they have fight on both. And you got to appreciate, though, that North changed up the A setup. It did come down to Gade once again in front of the connector. So they rested on his individual efforts a little bit, but Cadian got that first kill at A ramp with the op.
Correct.
So they're very proactive about stopping connector presence. You know, him going out mid first, and then coming back to A ramp, and then opping A ramp, and then falling back to under balc. They had a lot of people there at A this time.
It's all in hindsight, but I would have really liked to have seen what Kerrigan was up to at the B apartments before he was called to come through underpass into the A site. If that initial op frag doesn't come in for Cadian, then I think they play numbers different there. Alas, it is EnVy. Bought back in, trying to deny North at least overtime secured. We're in the final potential 6 rounds here. Regulation Mirage, big volley of utility already inwards. Wow, lucky to be alive. Drone 1 HP. Does fall to the frag grenade at the end of this, and Cutler burnt to a near crisp. Kerrigan even taking some chip damage, but the bomb's down. That's half the job finished, and that is North gone.
Oh, they'll call it, yeah. Really, I mean, strong execute. I suppose Gade looked like he could have gotten 2 kills there. 2 players turned their back to clear under balcony, and he could only get some damage in. I think ended up getting 1 kill, if that. No, didn't even get the 1 kill.
Did you see how charred that bomb site was?
It was roasted, yeah.
Molotovs, frag grenades, and corpses all
It looked
over.
like Michael Scott's foot after he stepped on a George Foreman.
Ooh, that doesn't sound fun at all.
Somebody called Dwight. It is a save for North, and it's because they could only put that 1 round together on an island.
And now reset. So, I mean, not entirely with 3 bodies saving. Team EnVy not going to try to take that away from them. Very much focused on their own game. They're not out of the clear just yet. But I'm sure it is reassuring to know that only one of the 5 rounds outside of your opponent's CT side has happened since you really got this rolling, you know.
Not a bad choice to maybe execute. Look strong doing it. They've done it before, actually, really early on in the map. Smoke the top mid to just attract the attention of the CTs on the left side of site, pull them away from thinking about this, and JDM goes ahead and loses an opening op duel. I think it'll be unclear that an A exec is about to come out, but there's still 3 CTs here.
Yeah, one of which with the op. Cadian misses his shot, goes back in for the repeat, but the flashbangs have been fantastic. Enables him and Gade spraying away with Valda on rotation. North not gonna fall victim to that A execute 2 rounds in a row. Get out of here, EnVy. you have 4 map and match points, keeping you in the minor circuit. If not, North goes forward versus Vici BO3.
Drone had the baton, but he was too far ahead in the relay. There was nobody behind him to trade under balcony, and it looked way too easy to hold that time. Cadian even gave them 2 openings. Could have easily gotten Drone down early on and then left under balcony total mystery. A good counter smoke to Palace to make it hard for Cutler to come out, and everybody else, yeah, just kind of unimpressively runs out through A ramp. North again in good spots to defend from that situation, and obviously a great off-duel win from AZ to lock it in. North on match point, series points. They don't make the major off this. They do go on to play Vici. And even though they lost to Vici, they lost in the best of 1.
One of the big missing parts of that previous execution, I'd say, was Molotovs. Think about how Valda comes through smoke to help. And I mentioned before, the previous round, it was charred to a crisp. But it's not the only thing looking hot and heavy. Team Envy rapidly trying to set up here to the B bomb site. Drones pinched in from Catwalk already, but there are numbers here for North. They've gotten ahead of this. It's not the first time we've seen them try to put bodies here. It's a clash to the finish line on the B bomb site. Gade with additional damage sprays upwards for Nifty. North 1 kill away, and there it is. Why not? Gade and Valda ripping them apart on Mirage. The AUG looks so smooth in their hands, and that's a nice, comfortable series win for North as they will move 1 step closer to IEM Katowice. It hasn't been a pretty trail for them, but it's a trail that hasn't ended yet.
If you're Envy, it sucks, but you had a lot of good games. There's on and off maps. I think they impressed a lot of people, and they showed what they can do. You know, hopefully it's not the end of the road for the whole team. And yeah, condolences. For North, they move on to play now Vici, and in a best-of-3 setting, they'll be able to get revenge potentially in this next series.
I think there's a very real chance at it. You know, best-of-3 veto system's certainly going to help. A deep map pool of North, that's something we praise for them. As the, 4 third-place teams, they have that edge, and individual level seems to be stepping up. They certainly still believe in themselves, and that's a good enough reason to believe in them in my books. But that is myself and Launders done. For the entirety of the minors, it's been a hell of a pleasure. But for one final time, we'll throw this back to Alabama's best. It is Tress on the desk.
That had a very nice ring to it. Thank you, guys. Yes, you guys are awesome, and I do greatly appreciate you. I don't know where you are in the studio, but right now you guys have crushed it at the America's Minor. Sort of like that of North, crushing the dreams of EnVyUs. Dead in their tracks. It's going to be not too spongy myself to lock this one all down and try to make sense of why it kind of looked easy.
That's a key word right there, the dreams of Envy. I think let's just state this from the get-go, get this out of the way so we can focus on talking about North. They exceeded expectations. We didn't know what to expect from Envy with limited practice coming into this, and they don't really have any negative takeaways. They can only look to positives to building going forward because their expectations, in this specific event, the minor play-in, was not high, and during the minors as well, nobody had expectations for them. So the fact of the matter is, this is North doing what they should have done earlier.
Yeah, I think in their own heads, they obviously wanted, they felt like they had all the trades they needed to be able to qualify for the major. But I mean, the big picture is, as you stated, it's such a new project. Not sure how long of a project it's going to be, right? But at least, like you were saying, it's a good learning experience for some of these players to get to play with Carrigan, and interesting to see how it all moves forward. But yeah, I don't think it was ever in the cards really that they would actually qualify.
Yeah, especially on the backs of what this best-of-3 turned out to be. But in fact, we will begin to talk a little bit more about these guys. They're known as North. You might know them from the Danish lands of Denmark, but we do have the opportunity for now to catch up with one of the winners. Jason Kaplan does have, I believe, Gade down there. Let's see what he's got.
Thank you very much, Sonny. Yes, joined by Gade. Finally, someone who's going to be just about as tall as me on camera. It doesn't have to be awkward to interview someone down there. Anyways, Gade, going into that match up against Envy, obviously a lot of pressure on your shoulders. One best-of-3 from being knocked out of the potential chance to get into the major. What was the mindset of the team? How did you guys feel going into the match?
Definitely just a kind of bounce-back game from the Vici best-of-1. I think we are more comfortable in the best-of-3s. So it's just about resetting and, coming out strong in the first round.
And going into the entire minor that you guys did play in, did you guys feel a lot of pressure on your shoulders to be, well, I mean, I think pretty much everyone would say you were considered one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to come out of the group into the major. Is that also weighing on your guys' mind at all, or are you just super focused on winning the matches that you can now?
Yeah, I think it's something that's coming to our mind. We put way too much pressure on ourselves, and we just try to play the best we can. And I mean, if you try too much, sometimes it just it got to end up in failure, right? So yeah, we're in a mental state right now that we just got to focus on our own game, and yeah, that's the way we got to go.
And then in your best of one versus Vici, since you're playing up against them in the rematch, is there anything you can tell us about what you feel like maybe went wrong in the best of one that you can potentially look to, fix into the next match?
Yeah, we gave them way too many first kills, and we just... I think if we don't give away the first kills, we can play a much better late game, and yeah, you'll see that in the best of 3 as well.
Okay, well, congratulations on that victory. 1 more to go, and you're in the major. Trace, back to you.
That's right, Mr. Kaplan. That is the story that is unfolding live and uncut, real time, right in front of you there, all the Twitch viewers out there. In fact, if you're watching us right now, I want to go ahead and get you involved, get you activated over on social media. Using hashtag IEM, go ahead and give us your best tweets, best shout-outs, and anything you got in between. I actually accept memes from time to time. But for the time being, now we need to discuss what is this North proposition going forward. Like, what is it exactly they're going to be propping themselves up on going into this next best of 3?
I think Gabe made a really good point there, saying that they should be better in late game situations in terms of rounds, right? When the clock winds down, they have all the tools available for themselves to be capable of winning these type of teams, right? So they kind of like stop overthinking. That's my first thought. Just play natural Counter-Strike that is the way that you know the best, right? And as we saw in that matchup, even on Mirage, it felt to me like they were doing interesting stacks, like interesting maneuvers in the 60 sides where they felt like they had a read, whereas I felt like they could have just done normal things and would have still won the rounds. Right?
I think contrastingly, looking at the 2 T sides, right, the scrimmier, more free-flowing side from North on their T side was what got the most of their rounds, right? Yeah. When they slowed it down and went default, they were just getting picked off and taken apart because they tried to play like current meta. But when they let their stars roam, they were finding openings and closing out rounds. Then you look at the way that Karrigan was calling. I think the reason we saw those stacks is because he must have been in their head, because every time that they went for one of those plays, he was hitting the other bomb site, and Karrigan was making the fantastic call every single time on the T half, obviously, until it didn't work. They did defaults, they got picked off. But then when they went into plays, when they went into those executes, if Gade could step up and get a multi-kill, Cadian with 2 opening kills in the AWP, that's all they needed. Somebody to step up and get multi-frags. That stopped the attacks of EnVyUs, and that was it.
Now, obviously, Karrigan being Danish, obviously all of North being Danish, we oftentimes talk about what a regional bout would look like and perhaps some of the things that would all tie in right there. Do you think that perhaps became some of the mind games in this matchup? Do you think Karrigan knew some tendencies just on the backs of that alone?
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, always is the case that you've played with most of these players before, you know how they think, what tendencies they have. Those will never disappear. I mean, you can change your tactics, you can change even your thinking a little bit, but when it comes to especially again, those close and end game situations for a round, that's usually where those tendencies come into play, and you can read them.
I think if we can look at the positive sign that when the duels came the way over both maps right now for North, they could actually step up and take them. That would have been a big problem going into the game against Vici if they were really strat and I guess structure based. And the Vici guys are going to be very aggressive. But now with everybody hitting their shots, being able to take the duels, that's the one scare tactic that was there against North that I think is now gone. That they've warmed into this now. They've played a lot of maps, and they should be feeling like they can take on Vici, who in the opening game, that was rubbish from North, and they know it. They know that that's not what they should have showed up with, and I think they're going to have a completely different face in this next best of 3.
No, yeah, it's also easier for North to approach this game because they have played against VG once, and obviously there is going to be the certain aspect that they'll find like pretty screamy from the way that VG plays, the aggressiveness, the kind of unorthodox pushes in certain situations. So now that they're ready, I feel like they should handle this one here quite handily.
Quite handedly is what we're going to do now as I hand over the keys to the bracket to you, the viewer at home, to understand how this has all come together in the very, very late, deep stages. It's going to be Vici taking on North to round out what is the end of the minor system here for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major.
It's been a heck of a ride, by the way.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. I'm not even going to say heck at this point because there's been some ups and downs. There's been some topsy-turvy sort of results, but at least in this last chance play-in, or however you want to word it, some of these teams really did get the chance.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think Vici and Winstrike opening the day out with 2 big victories right there gave an unlikely candidate to go straight through. We're obviously all looking towards North to be that team, and Vici even put up a fight. They had a very weak T side in their approach. There were so many executes that they were late round plays they were going for that they had utility to do executes, but they were just walking into the crosshairs of Winstrike. So, a couple of extra bits of strats on their T side, and it could have been a different story there. We could have had another Chinese team going straight through.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, I think what's interesting about them is they've always kind of been the type of players within that team that they're just super hard to play against because of things like that. You know, even though they have utility available, they'll do the walk-in strats, and those are like super hard to play. You can probably assess to this, having played in that region, right? It's hard because you're used to people actually, you know, utilizing the utility and trying to make the percentage plays, but then they'll just basically run into you and try to use their crosshairs as the only weaponry, basically.
Which could certainly present itself a mismatch. I mean, when we go to examine this one a little bit further in the pre-show, it's going to set up for a good story nonetheless, because we do know in the outcome of this, someone's going to the major. And that ultimately is the big picture here, the big goal for both of these teams.
That's the prize, right? That's what everybody's here to do. And we've seen what it's mean over these last 2 days to certain teams. Greyhound, obviously, the guys from Furia, the way they reacted to Windstrike when they got their qualification today. It means a lot to these players, right? Because this is what they pour their hearts and soul into. This is what they're practicing over Christmas for. And those emotions, it's fantastic that we've seen them on display the last couple of days, because that's been lacking, I think, because certain teams have come through who were meant to go through. And they're obviously not going to be as emotional about it. But these teams who were seen as more underdogs or dark horses going into the next stage, it means a lot for them just to get past this point.
And one of the, I guess, topics that we haven't really even talked about, we do have a few extra minutes here, it's kind of the vacuum that gets created by some of these teams that do end up qualifying, right? So at least in the North American region, we have a region where, yes, complexity excelled all expectations in the last major.
A bit more.
Yeah, and a little bit more, even at that. So I guess if we look forward into this major, could we be seeing the same sort of vacuum create itself with any of the teams that have qualified here at the minor?
I think that it'll reset itself after this major because of the new format that ESL have been able to put in place, right? The fact of the matter is the best of threes as gateways to get through to that next stage. What that means to me is, at least, is a lot of these teams who we saw, you know, winning as best of one specialists and making it deeper into the tournament, making it top 8, guaranteeing themselves a spot in that next major. Those teams aren't going to do that anymore, and they should trickle back down into the minors where you saw Mouse Sports have to struggle, right? And this should make, you know, the America's minor more competitive. It already was hugely competitive, but even more so. Same as the Asian minor, right? If Renegades don't get through the top 8, if Tyloo don't get through the top 8, they drop back down, and now we have a hugely competitive Asian minor. So I think that this format right now, at least if it happens for 2 iterations, will solve the problem of the best of one specialists that we've seen happening for a very long time.
You can only play Inferno so many times, right? Not to.
It's very true, but I think like if history has taught us anything, especially when it comes to the European minors, it's getting harder. Like every and each time it's getting harder. I don't feel like that's going to change after this major either. But it's also on the other way. If you think of it, it's a two-way street. You know, we kind of feel like there's a certain vacuum in, let's say, the America's minor, obviously just because of the way the teams have panned out. But at the same time, you have to say we've got to see new individuals, we've seen new players, new teams, Furia, and the likes of that, who've been very, very just great positive surprises for us, right? So it also creates those opportunities for players that we've not seen before.
Just quickly, you know that Furia storyline? I believe that OG, the old guys club with Sean Gares and Jordan, everybody, they were actually playing in the minor qualifier online against the Furia team. And I think they were like 1 round away from winning it.
Actually.
But Shroud couldn't play the next round, so they just forfeit and let the guys go through. And from here, now they've made it all that way, which is a crazy story.
Which for Furia is kind of I don't want to say counter blessings, because obviously that lineup being stacked up against them, there's some veterancy there. There's this, that, and the other. And for whatever sole purpose that team found itself competing through the minors for and all the way through the
Imagine them being here.
Yeah, I mean, seeing them here, I don't know if I'd know how to act around here. It would just be clowning all day long, which is what we're going to continue to do. We're going to be going to a break. When we come back, we do have the last matchup of the entire minor system. So you don't want to miss that bad boy, and we don't want to miss you either. So make sure you're here with us when we come back.